Can you share the inspiration or the driving force behind Rove wheelchairs and how it came about?
For me, I think the biggest driving factor was when I spent 3 days in Singapore getting around in a wheelchair. A bit of a study tour that I did through uni, and I realised how hard some of the challenges were in access and level, I guess, of technology in wheelchairs compared to, say, bikes or any other sort of industry was just severely lacking. I was 10 years behind, and so coming from a design engineering background, I was I can do this so much better. And so here we are with a product that's taking cues from the bike industry and is lightweight, it's cool, and gets rid of the stigma of wheelchairs.
From the point you started to now where you've actually got wheelchairs going out to customers and customers enjoying them and giving you good feedback, how long has that process been?
We started Rove wheelchairs at the beginning of 2020, literally as COVID was hitting. So that was quite a challenge in itself, and we're probably in prototyping and development of the product, doing customer research with other wheelchair users, OTs, caregivers. That probably took us about 18 months. We launched the product in mid-2021 at ATSA, which is a big trade show here in Australia.
What do you think sets Rove apart from other brands in the market?
We're so design and product led, which is very different from maybe the more functionally kind of led companies that are very medical sterile. Where we're heading with the brand, with our current product, it's all about reducing the stigma attached to wheelchairs, making them cool. How can they be more like a high-end bicycle? And why can't they be super lightweight and functional while cool at the same time? So I think for us, that's our biggest point of difference. Using the 3D printed technology, obviously it's a world first. We're the first people ever to 3D print titanium wheelchairs.
What does Rove look like in 5 years from now?
5 years from now, we don't want to just be a small Australian wheelchair builder.
Take over the world.
Literally take over the world. I want to be exporting to sort of all the key markets or areas, being the US, Europe, UK, and then sort of into the Asian, Korean area.
Is there a big market in those areas?
Australia is just is quite a small market. It's a great test market because we've got the likes of the NDIS. We don't want to be just building 100 or 200 wheelchairs a year. We want to be building 10,000 wheelchairs a year and really serving a global population.
What are some future products which are in the pipeline?
Got plenty of good ideas at the moment. Brief intermission, some technical issues. Also super focused on sort of scaling our current production capabilities and capacities as well. But some of the cool stuff we've got in the pipeline is a 3D printed medical cushion, so we can customize pressure care. We can do super specific sizes if required, but also the main reason for that is making a much lighter weight cushion and also much more breathable. Another one is a full titanium frame, so that would still be 3D printed parts, but then also a little bit more tube bending in it, staying true to our sort of design-led philosophy around how can we make that look really cool and not just like any other tube bent wheelchair.
And do you think that the limits of the current wheelchair being as light as possible is actually in the components that go on it and the accessories that can be put on it?
Yeah, 100%. The frame is literally 40-50% total weight, so where we can make all those little improvements, we will. Every time we build a wheelchair, it's just getting that little bit better.
What are some other brands in the space which you admire and who are helping to ditch the stigma of typically very medical and sterile industry?
Vapor Wheels are doing a pretty good job. They're a US wheel startup. Smooth, I think, do a great product. It's a nice power assist unit that's really well integrated, good features, great user experience and user interface. Bowhead are awesome too. So they're pushing really hard with assistive mountain biking. Really cool team. I love where they're sort of going with that and integrating bike tech into their bikes. And also I think they're sort of coming out soon with a wheelchair too. So that's really cool to see, and I'm keen to see sort of where they go with that.
How do you challenge the traditional image of wheelchairs?
Traditionally, it's sort of your typical round bent tube. With the 3D printed titanium, we can create those kind of nice curves, highlight lines, and all that sort of stuff to, just really make that wheelchair something a little bit nicer to look at, more like a high-end bike, and cool.
How much does a traditional wheelchair weigh in comparison to a Rove chair?
It's hard to say. Sort of, you got different groups of wheelchairs. You've got your very basic sort of
hospital
chair. Look, they probably weigh 15 kilos or more, like 20 kilos maybe. Then you move sort of more into a range of wheelchair, the next step up in price, which is standard frame, but has like a lot of adjustability in it so that you can kind of customize it a bit to each person. It has a lot extra weight with like moving clamps and that sort of thing. And whenever you've got sort of something that's moving, you always lose a little bit of efficiency in your push as well, so you don't get the same kind of performance out of the chair. And then move up into what we'd call like the high-end sector of wheelchairs, which is sort of where the Rove chair is. Got a chair that's completely custom, the frame's custom made to each person. You're talking like a frame weight for up like 2 kilos. Transport weight would be around 3 to 5 kilos. It depends a little bit on options and size of chair, that sort of thing, but 3 to 5 kilos transport weight, which is actually just the wheelchair without a cushion and without rear wheels, which is what you'd actually pull in and out of a car. So, the Rove chair is like, let's say, easily kind of half the weight of like a hospital chair, 30 to 40% lighter than, say, kind of your mid-range chair.
Pretend I am someone commenting on our Instagram. Why do the wheelchairs cost so much?
At the moment, they're too cheap. It costs a lot of money to do a custom wheelchair, so that means that we can't mass produce the frames. Every single frame that comes through, there's unique problems with it. We pay our engineers for their time to kind of sit down and nut out those custom aspects of the chair. And finally, 3D printing isn't cheap at the moment. 3D printed titanium is an expensive process. It's a new technology. It's becoming more and more mainstream, but it's still an expensive process. There's a lot of labour involved, and it's all Australian made, so it makes it hard to compete with other companies offshore as well. But for us, we pride ourselves on getting the absolute perfect wheelchair for you as the customer.
Give me a range of price.
Typical Rove wheelchair from $14,000 right up to $20,000. Alloy wheels or carbon wheels or titanium axles, you can kind of add your options and go from there.
How can a customer get measured for a custom fit?
The easiest way is give us a call. We can chat through some of your questions around what you're after, what's going to work for you, and we can advise what we can on that. You can come to our showroom, which is in Oakley. If you're in any of the other states, we've got retailers there, which are all listed on our website. Every single retailer has at least one demo chair there.
Can you accommodate specific medical needs or body shapes?
The whole reason we do customization is to allow for that. Disability is so varied. No one person is the same.
How durable is 3D printed titanium?
It's ultra lightweight, it's super strong. 3D printed material is no different to the standard stuff really. Used in spacecraft, satellites, in aeroplanes. So a lot of the Boeing and Airbus planes will have a combination of titanium composites, which is the same as the Rove chair. Considered a super inert material, so it doesn't rust or corrode like aluminium or steel